training techniques, Dr. P.K Chug initiated collaboration with NFSU to launch the groundbreaking diploma Canine Forensics course at the Delhi campus of NFSU. Over to you, sir. The platform is all yours.
Sir, we warmly invite you on the stage.
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Malik, for the kind words. Dr. Richard Rothgi, the chairman of the CrimCon Budding Forensics Expert Group, and Dr. Sweetie Sharma, who is the course coordinator for the Canine Forensics, Malik, Lavlish, Astha Mana, Astha Dhal, Swantana, and Divyendu. I mean, these are the pillars who have taken this unique initiative under the mentorship of Dr. Richa and Dr. Rothgi. Dr. Sweetie. I truly appreciate this unique initiative which you all have taken, and I'm sure with the support of the budding forensics experts, we'll be able to reach out to the more people, more aspiring students, more aspiring professionals who want to do well in this field and who want to learn from the genuine sources. So this is something, a unique experience for all of us in this profession, because we have been, practicing, and largely our focus remained on improving the subject and practicing and performing within our organization. But in today's well-connected world, unless we move as a collective team, as a professional group, we are not going to achieve our desired aim, because everyone is doing in a solitary isolation, unique, and they are trying to rediscover the things which someone else has already done within the country. So as a nation, if we want to improve this subject, we have to really, really work hard and coordinate with each other. So that is our entire aim, and in that endeavor, the academic institutions carry a lot of meaning, because these academic institutions, they can take the responsibility of preparing the professionals for the kind of work which is required by the industry, by the field, from the operational point of view, whether it is within the police organizations, law enforcement, military, or among the private security industry. So these are different application parts. So unless we as a professional collectively move, I think we may not be able to achieve the aim. So from that point of view, we have started and taken this unique initiative. And I'm so happy that recently NFSU Delhi campus, they organized a first conference on advancement of forensic sciences and impediments. That was again a wonderful platform where we could present about this emerging subject of canine forensics, and had an open house where students participated wholeheartedly, and we had a very good discussion, and there were a lot of queries. So that excites as a professional to me, because I can see that spark where today's students are going to be tomorrow's professionals. So if they are interested, they want to understand the subject, and some of them will like to pursue it to the higher degrees or higher research outcomes, then definitely that's going to help the profession as a whole. So I'm basically, I would be talking all about this subject so that I can reorient most of the students. This subject is new, as Astha and Malik and Dr. Richa, everyone has told. So I would like to just give you a brief background, what exactly and how exactly we feel that, what are the challenges, and what all has already been done in this field, and what is the way forward, and especially with the help of NFSU. You all are part of NFSU, and some of you who are joining as a guest, NFSU is one of the institutions of national importance, and it has 11 campuses. It's amazing performance within a short period, the way it's growing. And the most important part, which I want to emphasize here, is that with the 3 new laws, which are now already passed by the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, which are Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, Nagrik Sakshya Adhiniyam, and which are replacing the IPCs. So these laws have already emphasized that any offense which attracts more than 7 years of punishment has to have the forensic investigations. So that means that you cannot punish a accused unless you have this credible forensics investigations and forensics outcomes. Without that, you cannot, punish a accused which has offenses, attracts offenses from imprisonments or punishments for more than 7 years. So from that point of view, if you don't pace up with the overall ecosystem, then perhaps somewhere the evidence by the dog teams, with the police canine teams, would somewhere be left behind. So this is high time that we come on board, and this is the forensic canines, or the canine forensics is nothing but the performance or investigating with the help of a trained dog. So canine is C-A-N-I-N-E, canine. Canine is a biological name or zoological name of the dog. And that's where the homophone comes canine, kilo 9. So world over, the forensic canines, or for that matter, police, military canines, are all referred as canine, the kilo 9. So this is a homophone of the canine. And forensic canines are those which are like applied for the investigation part, whether it is the crime investigation or it is for the detection task. So there can be a wide range of detections. We'll be talking more during my presentation, but I just want to give you a brief. So from that point of view, we need to bridge those gaps so that when the forensic evidence with the help of these dog teams is taken to the court of law, we have certain reliability, certain credibility, and our effort doesn't go waste. So from that point of view, a lot of research is required. Research from the dog's point of view, research from the handler's point of view, research from the team's point of view, research from the training equipment's point of view, the training gadgets, the behavioral part, the dog's behavior, how the team performs, how training aids play an important role. We have a big speaker coming after me, Dr. David Edbimpe. He is the scientist of the order science. So what we are talking today is order as an evidence, whether it is detection or crime investigation. The main focus remains, we are depending on the order as an evidence in the court of law. So that's something very, very important. I would like to share the presentation so that you all can, we can go through that presentation and start talking about that. Just try. Can you see the presentation?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the canine forensics and what we have achieved and what is the way forward from a global perspective point of view. Where do we stand? So we're going to analyze about our standing and our progress made in this field. So let me tell you, the thing which we were talking is that here we are talking of the order as an evidence. When we are talking order as an evidence, what exactly is this order? So this is a volatile organic compound that originates from the forensic specimens. And these forensic specimens can be wide ranging, as you all are aware. So what the order which is there on these evidences, it can be liberated from the substances like the narcotics, drugs, the prohibited substances, the contraband, explosives, firearms. So these are some of those substances which liberate the volatile organic compounds by virtue of being volatile. And second is the human element, the criminal element. So every human being has a different volatile organic compound. So something like your DNA of every human is different. The fingerprint is different. Similarly, the order which we originate has a different. And how this order is different is when we go deeper into this, we have our like dead cells. We call it like rafts. So every second, every minute, we are shedding um, lakhs of cells into the environment. These are the dead cells. And those dead cells carry a unique order signature of ours. And that order signature can help us in reaching out to that desired individual or the targeted person. So from that point of view, we must understand that what we are aiming to find out the volatile organic compound, whether it is from the substance or it is from the human being. So that is the forensic interest, and that is the forensic evidence which will help us in actually pinning down to the criminal or the accused. Now, in this thing, there are a lot of instruments which are already being developed and which are trying to develop. But what remains is the canines are the leading instrument or leading to resource in this. And most of these equipments, when they are trying to develop, they are trying to develop in comparison to the canines. So canine remains as a gold standard. And why canines are best is primarily, I've just identified the four. We are going to show you the overall the comparison between the dog and the equipments. So the primary and major advantage with the dog is like speed, the versatility, ruggedness, and discriminating power. Now, these are very, very unique with the dogs. And no equipment has been able to yet achieve those kind of uniqueness, the versatile nature and the operational ease with which we can reach to our target with the help of dogs. And that's what is like bringing most of the organization to use dogs. Let me tell you, world over, especially the Western world, I'm talking of the Europe and the US, they have been developing most of these equipments which we use here in India or the third world countries, like the explosive vapor detectors, MO8, and all these things. But when it comes to their own backyard for detection of explosives, they are largely depending on the dogs, because they knows that no equipment can actually reach to the levels at which the dog works. So in the Iraq war and the Afghanistan war, Americans and the allied forces, they all have depended on the dogs. And there were more and more dog teams which were deployed, and there was huge demand of the dogs to safeguard lives and properties. And they have been of immense value. Some of you can see a couple of movies, especially the one which I would emphasize is the Megan Levy. So if you can see the movie Megan Levy, you will understand that how, and this is a true story about Megan Levy. Megan Levy is a American US Armed Forces dog handler, and who had a dog, and they participated in many operations. They saved many lives. So it's the movie on the true story of Megan Levy, and it's amazing. You will get goosebumps that how dogs have a third sense, like when you feel that you're safe, and you actually are the most unsafe at that moment, and you can lose your life. Not only you, but along with you, there are many teammates who can lose the life because of that danger, which is immutable, and you just can't avoid that unless you have a supernatural potential of a dog, which is part of you and part of your team. So these are the now these advancements in the volatile organic compounds, their investigation, standardization, instrument development, that's like continuously improving, and this is likely to continuously improve. And there are investigations, questions, debates, that's like natural, because we have to come out with more and more unique advantages and unique ways that we can use. And there is always an increasing debate in courts of law where this novel form of evidence is accepted. Obviously, because the life of accused, we in India have like that, the accused is innocent unless it is proven. So when it is, it has to be proven, and that responsibility lies on the investigation agency, then definitely we have a huge responsibility where in case we are using the dog, then might as well uh, plug all the loopholes and the courts accept them as a credible evidence, and they rely on the testimony of the dog teams in a wholehearted manner. There are a lot of observations, and that's what we want here in India, which is lacking so far, and lacking from the point of view because the organizations sometimes are themselves not confident that whether their dog teams uh, would be uh, would be successful to the scrutiny of the law, or whether they knows that there are few issues they would not be able to satisfy the courts. So sometimes they use dogs, but they don't reflect in the diary, like recovery. So recovery of the drugs from a car or from a house is is achieved through the dog. But since there are issues with the dog team, so sometimes what they happen, they just declare the recovery and don't say that the dog led to the recovery. So when the dog led to the recovery, that means you're connecting two dots, and that would really inspire a lot of confidence, and that would truly, help us in nailing down to the accused. And that's where the gray areas are there, and that's where the role of canine forensics and the professionals would definitely come. But when I go to the Western world, like I've been going to different conferences, seminars, workshops, and training institutions, academies to understand the subject much better. So when we go there, so they have a dedicated day. Like if I go to, say, North American Police Work Dog Association's 3-day seminar. So out of 3 days, there's one entire day dedicated to discussions on the observations of the court of law. So you have one part where you are focused on preparing the dogs. Another part, you're preparing the augmenting their performance by different ways, novel techniques, advancements, observations. And the third day, they start in the morning till late evening. They are debating on the cases which were presented to the court of law in last year or the period whenever they have last met, uh, discussing about the cases, that why, what were the observation of the court, why did they accept, why did they not accept, what was the unique observation, why the dog failed in certain testimony, what were the adverse observations. Those successful stories are good. We are all thrilled and excited about it, and there are innumerable successful stories. But point is that, are we satisfied by celebrating and jubilating by those successes, or we have a focus on improving onto our subject? So when you have a focus on improving, then you have to really see your own work with a critical eye, and you have to observe that why uh, my work still needs improvement, or what are the scopes of improvement. So they discuss about it. It's very inspiring and motivating when they talk about, and the real dog team which was subjected for scrutiny or testimony is presenting their case, and there are experts, legals who are sitting, and then they are debating, and then they find out the ways that what should we do in these circumstances. Then there are advisories issued, that from the, like, the next time onwards, we do this also, we add a paper to record this, or we address this issue, or we try to carry out certain training reforms so that this issue or this subject is not observed. So there are a lot of things this subject need attention, and that's where, I feel very fortunate that now it's a good beginning, and we are talking about all those things which we should have done long back, but notwithstanding now the time good. So this development and implementation of the best practices for canines, instruments, reliability of detecting the volatile organic compounds of interest would continue to improve. And there is always an expanding the aim is to expanding the use of order as an acceptable form of evidence. Okay, so I'm just giving you a brief comparison on your view foil. You can see By the way, if you have some question answers, I would request you to just note down in your pen and paper. And when we are done with the presentation and discussions, and then you all can ask questions. I would love to answer anybody's query or any question. So this is a comparison between the instruments and the dog. So we have been fairly, trying to understand that what are the strengths with the dogs and what are the strengths with the instruments. It's not that instruments are not helping us. They are helping us in a big way. There are a lot of advantages with the instrument. But we are trying to focus on the unique advantages of the dogs as well. So when it comes to the overall performance of your task, we will come on to that. Eventually, we'll have to make a team where we are complementing instruments to dogs and dogs to instruments as a team. And eventually our aim is to be successful in our task. So there are a lot of advantages where, I told you the speed and the versatility and selectivity. Now, what is selectivity? Like the sensitivity. The dog in a real world situation can scan. Like dog can work as a scanner. Whereas you need to, with the equipment, you need to reach out to the equipment. You might have seen on the airports, like they take a swab from your hands. And that the swab is put into the machine or the equipment to find out whether it has explosives or not. So a dog doesn't need, he's so versatile that he's picking up order from the air, from the environment. And the uniqueness with the dog is that the other day I was telling my students also about the rheotaxis. That means from the, he has that ability to reach to the source. So the moment dog gets in order, he follows the concentration gradient from low concentration, which is there in the air. The scent is originating from a source. So he quickly moves from the low concentration, following the concentration gradient from low to the, it's like a sand cone. So when he enters to the cone of the sand, he reaches to the base of the cone. So that's helping him and actually reaching to the source. So this is eventually a big advantage when it comes to finding the source of that order. Like the order is there in the environment, in a building, but point is that we are trying to find out whether it is in a bag, who is the guy who is carrying that order in his pocket or in his bag, or where it is hidden in the building. So dog picks up the sand, reaches to the source. That is something unparalleled, which is no equipment can actually mimic such a capability. This is unique. Second aspect is the scent generalization. So the dog, once you imprint him on a particular order, so within that group, within that particular setup, the dog generalizes for the new orders, because it's impossible for you to imprint on all possible orders in the world. Obviously, you will be imprinting on certain orders which are available to you, which are the orders of your interest, because they are the ones which are used by the terrorists or the criminals. So when you're using them, and if in case, and they're also developing, evolving, they don't want dog to detect their and foil their nefarious designs. So they are also trying something new. So when they are trying new, you are preparing your dog to generalize that sense. So that's where the sensitivity and the selectivity comes handy. And overall speed, which is extremely, extremely great, mobility, unparalleled. So these are some of those now integrated sampling systems. This is highly efficient. Dog is not going to, otherwise with the equipments or the instruments, you are going to take the sample. When you are going to take the sample, there's always a bias, because it is very difficult to achieve that randomized standard which you intend, that out of that entire environment, the dog has the capability to reach out to the target or reach out to the order. So from that point of view, the dog has a unique capability, and it's highly efficient. And scent to source, which I told you, from following the concentration gradient, the dog picks up the order which is in the air and reaches to the source which is giving rise to this order. That is something very, and it's like often innocuous. You have to, if you have to frisk a human being, you have to go. Frisking is always like objectionable. Certain laws prohibit, certain places it's not possible, and obviously it's not liked by anybody. But a dog doesn't need to, really, he can just, in an unobvious manner, in a innocuous manner, he's like scanning that entire thing, searching, and giving you an input. So from that point of view, the dog is like amazing tool. I'd already told you sensitivity. By the way, the the forensic standards, they talk of any tool to be more than 90% sensitive. That means a instrument or investigation tool, if you have developed new, it should have minimum 90% reliability or accuracy or sensitivity, whatever you call it, uh, so that it can be admissible in the court of law. So from that point of view, what we have prepared are standards and the dog to evaluations and the outcome. So there also we have ensured that the dog's proficiency assessment, the standard should be more than 90%. Means like out of 10 training aids, the dog should be able to detect minimum 9. So the our standard which we have developed is like we are hiding 12 training aids into a different scenarios, and then we're trying to find out whether dog is able to successful 11 or out of 12 or not. So that brings down to the dog's level to say somewhere around 92%, and which is acceptable. So that is the minimum, and that's where the dog teams are certified. So we match the forensic standards which are universal and which are uncompromising when it comes to a credible forensic tool which is helping in the investigations. So these are some of those comparisons where the economy is there, the uniqueness is there, and cost effective. So it's highly cost effective, and other than that, a dog brings a smile to the faces of the team, which I would say goes unnoticed because we don't even understand. It's a big de-stressor. So in a team, investigation team or in a police organization, if you have a dog, it unites everyone. Like anybody coming is going to greet the dog without saying. So the dog has many other advantages which are not directly related to the profession, but they keep you professionally motivated and focused. I was just talking about the complementing of the dogs and the equipments. This is where how it matters. When only equipments, like this one of the outcome of the study, when only explosive weapon detectors were deployed. So they were around 35% successful. And when explosive dog teams were only alone, deployed, so the success was around 86%. And when dogs and manual search was combined, 93%. But eventually, when we combined the manual efforts, dog, and the equipment, the success reaches to nearly 100%. That's like 96%. So our aim is not to miss a single bomb. Our aim is not to miss a single effort of a drug mafia to move the drugs. We want everything nearly 100%. And if that is the target, then we have to complement efforts of each other with regard to the resources of finding the target. And that's where these resources have to complement each other. This is the gold standard in detection, and it's a big statement. It is the selectivity combined with mobility and independent thinking that still ranks the canines as the current best method for real-time detection of explosives and other contrabands. So this is something summing up all the uniqueness of the dogs which we are talking of. Just to tell you that where exactly the dog is placed in this entire ecosystem, you will see that the dog is part of the orthogonal detection techniques, and out of that there are different techniques. You can see separation, electronic noses, the optical principles, and finally the biosensors. And in the biosensor, there are a lot of other animals are also tried, like rats and birds. But the dog remains the ranks the first because of its like convenience and application part of it. Just to give you that why the canine knows the best, this is like the because of the order signatures. We're trying to tell you, or I'm just trying to explain you what is the order signature. Now, order signature is like you have a target substance, that is explosives, drugs, or anything for that matter. But let me tell you, the target material and its order are altogether different things. What dog is detecting? Dog is actually not detecting the target material. So you will be surprised that what dog is detecting. In case like if a cocaine is hiding and we are putting dog to detect, then what my statement says that dog is not detecting cocaine, then you will disbelieve it. But eventually the dog is detecting the odor signature of the cocaine. As I told you, these equipment, these items, these compounds are all volatile. So when they are volatile, they are quickly getting converted into the plume or the odor. And for dog, it is the odor which is the matter of interest. And at what pace the volatility is there, we call it vapor pressure. So depending on the vapor pressure of the target material, the material is getting converted into the order, and the dog is getting to this order. So just understand, dog is not detecting the material, dog is detecting the order, but that order is leading him to the source. And what is that source? Source is the material which you are looking for. So it's an interesting thing. But in case you want to improve the performance of the dog, then how do you do? So to improve the performance of the dog, your focus area, your target area is the order. So if you try to make the order available in abundance, it's easy for dog to reach out to the order. And if by some means the order is not available to the dog, it becomes dog's task more difficult. And how dogs or the order would not be available in case you have a cocaine or explosives which are there in a airtight compartment or a container which is like 100% sealed. Nothing is coming out. Then obviously the order is not available to the dog. If order is not available, then obviously dog would not be able to reach to the source. But practically that's not possible. Even the best of the airtight containers which are available in the market are actually not 100% airtight. They have to the extent that they restrict moisture to get in. They're largely targeted from the moisture point of view. But when it comes to oozing out of the odor, it definitely goes out because 100% sealing is something very, very difficult. Though the criminals try when they transship their drugs and narcotic substances, they try to wrap up in different things to just avoid oozing out of that odor. One of the speakers from customs is going to speak about that what are the case studies, how they try to mix up masking agents, distracting agents, how they avoid detection by the dog. So there are ways, and Dr. David, who is going to talk more about that order and the science of order, so I leave that part for him. But here, in this slide, what we are trying to say that in the United States, the dogs were detecting order on the currency notes. And when the dog was giving indication, like a narcotics detection dog was giving indication on currency, the courts observed, the society observed, are they making mistakes? What are they doing? Dogs, a currency, the narcotics dog giving indication on currency. And there was no answer. I'm talking of 20 years back, 25 years back. So some of those experts from the forensic science, and we are fortunate to have eventually associated with them. We are running few higher degree courses with the Florida International University. So these experts, which I'm talking, is Kenneth Furton. I can even name him because we learned from his work. So he was the one who conducted the research in the Global Forensic and Justice Center. You might have, many of you must be knowing, there's a Global Forensic and Justice Center in the Florida International University in Miami, and they're doing a wonderful job with the dogs. And they've carried out like analysis to find out, to get answers to the dog's detection and the dog's problems and challenges. So they came out that the dog is detecting methyl benzoate on the currency notes. And methyl benzoate is the order signature of the cocaine. That means cocaine is getting converted into methyl benzoate slowly and gradually because of the volatility, and the dog indicates on the methyl benzoate. Now, why currency notes? Because these currency notes were handled by the drug mafia. When why someone is selling the drug, but what is coming in return is the currency notes. So if I'm handling the drugs and then I'm collecting the cash and then I'm counting the cash, handling the cash, distributing the cash, so those order which I've handled getting imprinted onto the notes. So in case the dog indicates on the currency note, that means, and methyl benzoate, by the way, is highly volatile. It doesn't stay for too long. But in case dog is detecting, that's a fair indication that these currency notes were recently handled by the person who has also handled cocaine. So this is a big message. This was a big answer which was provided by the scientific experts, the forensic experts, when there was no answer to the dog. And dog's credibility was questioned. That why a cocaine detecting dog is indicating on currency. So when there were questions raised on the dogs, the scientific fraternity or the forensic community, they came forward to give the answers. Thank God that someone carried out this study to satisfactorily answer, and that helped in actually improving the performance of the dog. So similarly, there are different order signature which I'm trying to show you in this slide, like the cocaine. I already told you methyl benzoate. Similarly, sorry. Similarly, C4, smokeless powder, or TNT. Now they have the order signature as 2,4-DNT. So the moment TNT is kept, TNT gets converted into 2,4-DNT. So the dog is detecting 2,4-DNT. For the live persons or the dead bodies, the order signature is different. It's like dimethyl disulfide. So this is the decaying tissues. They are getting converted into these compounds, and these compounds are picked up by the dog because we are imprinting onto these compounds. That's where the different order signatures helps. How it's achieved is with the help of headspace extraction and common order and headspace analysis, basically solid phase material extraction, which are different techniques which are used by the forensic experts or the chemistry experts. So they are trying to analyze that what is there in the order, what is there in the headspace. So headspace has a different chemical compound than the material, and that's where we have tried to find out that which material has which order signature. Very interesting studies which are carried out. And there was another study. There was, I would just give me I am receiving a call from Dr. David, so let me take a call and then sorry about that. David was just, he had some queries, so I had to answer him. He's going to speak on order, which I was telling you, and he's going to speak in greater details. I would request everyone to listen to him, because when he's talking, there will be a lot of things which you will be learning with regard to the order science and the science of olfaction. Okay, so this slide, coming back to our presentation, this is showing that there were a study. In fact, I personally conducted a study similar to what I'm showing. So here IDs were blasted. There were 3 different IDs were blasted, and then when we tried, because IDs were placed by a terrorist or criminal. So when that means they have an order of the criminal. Like if I'm making a pressure cooker ID, so I'm picking up the pressure cooker, putting in so many things. So I'm handling for a substantial time. That means my order is there on the pressure cooker or the pipe bomb or any bag bomb of any design. Now, what this study carried out, they blasted the ID and then tried, there were fragments of the pressure cooker or the pipe or objects of the bomb. We tried to bring in the tracking trailing dog, which is trained on the human order. So what we tried, that even after a blast, do we have the order remaining on these components, which can lead us to the success of the which can lead us to the success, or which can lead us to the man behind the person, man behind that equipment or an ID which is placed by him. And to our surprise, it was fairly successful. So we got 72% successful results, where 8 out of 11 IDs which were placed and blasted, the dog led us to the person who was hiding in the near vicinity, 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers. So that shows that it can be of immense application. By the way, so far, not only in India, world over, the focus is once the blast happens, there's post-blast investigation. We just academically try to find out what modus operandi was there, what material was used. We hardly have a focus to find out the target. Who the hell had kept this ID? So the first objective perhaps should be and can be to call the dog, the tracking trailing dog, and pick up the components of the IDs and give and cast our dog onto those orders, and then perhaps the dog can lead us to the criminal or the terrorist who is hiding in the near vicinity, to see whether his effort is successful or not. He's not out of the sight. He's definitely somewhere observing, because he's the one who has planted it. So therefore, this study was very useful, that we can do that, and it is doable, and we should do that. Coming down to the next. Yeah. So there is improvements in instrument sensitivity over time. We have seen, from 80s to the current time, there are like to what level the instruments have gone. And the same thing is happening with the dogs. So it is like it is the constant improvements vis-a-vis dog versus this thing. Let's come down to specifically on the forensic canines, that how it impacts. Now, these are some of those different types of canines or the dog teams which we are using in the country. So on the left of your slide, you can see some of those type of trained dogs which we use in India, like explosive detection dog, dogs for narcotics detection, tracker dog, which is for the human order, guard dog to guard your vital establishments and sensitive establishments. That means it's like we are using the natural instinct of the dog. The guarding is still sniffing through his nose. The trespassers are challenged, attacked, and threatened. Patrol assault dogs, which are more energy channelized, and we are using them for coordinated effort to inflict assault. Search and rescue during the disaster relief. You have rubbles and different kind of places where the dogs are deployed. Anti-poaching dog for wildlife protection. Amazing, successful. Mind you, this dog is not only detecting the wildlife, But wildlife wardens or the guards, they don't have any weapon with them. They have the threat not only from the poachers, but they have a threat from the wildlife. But if you have a dog, you are protecting firstly the warden, the guard, and at the same time, any poacher who is indulging into smuggling of the wildlife products, you have a dog with his extraordinary nose to find out who is this guy and nab him and eventually take him to the final conclusion if he's forensically done and we have followed all the forensic considerations. Infantry patrol dog is again, for the ambush detection primarily in the Naxal corridors, in the border areas. And recently, some of the states which are dry states, there the liquor detection dogs have also been employed. But on the right of you, look at the list which we still need to do in our country. The one is dual purpose dogs. We need to use them two departments of the dog, detection and protection. Currency detection dogs, digital detection dog. Digital detection is like the ones which can detect the mobile phones, the SIM cards, electronic storage devices. There have been cases world over where pornography cases are there, child pornographies, and they are saved in the hard disks, difficult to find. But dogs can quickly, find out within an entire house. Finding a small hard disk is a challenge for the cops. But when it comes to the dog, it's like child's play. He's going to enjoy finding that the target within a big house. So it's like finding a needle in the haystack. So for dog, that's possible. Contraband detection, dogs, useful for the customs and other organizations. Trailing air scent dogs. This is in the urban setting. The track is not created, but the dog has an imaginary train. So dog can be biosecurity detection dog. A lot of biosecurity products are prohibited to bring in country. And if you go to New Zealand, Australia, some of those island countries, they're very, very strict. And there are a lot of dogs which are deployed for the biosecurity. You just cannot carry any fruit or any seed or any agriculture product. They are very strict. And dogs are doing amazing job in that. Cadaver detection dog, I was telling you, there have been cases in our country where we have found, the body parts of the victims. There is no way then, trying with the orthodox conventional systems, but we can apply cadaver detection dogs. Semen detection dogs, there's a lot of focus on the women protection and their rights. There are cases of rapes. So many places in the country, so we can perhaps use these dogs which can connect the victim with the accused or with the criminal who has inflicted this kind of thing. So these things can be very useful. Medical detection, COVID detection, cancer detection. I'm fortunate that I'm a member of the International Canine Working Group on COVID detection. So when COVID started, we were member of that group and we worked very hard. In fact, by the end of the middle of the COVID, there were 47 countries where the dogs were trained and deployed for screening the masses at the airports, the metros, for the COVID, and only those which are clearing are allowed to get in the mass transport systems to control the COVID. So COVID detection dogs were extremely useful, and I have a lot of stories and which we discuss on some other day. Okay, so there are challenges with the dogs. I will not go much deeper into detail because of the paucity of time, but I've tried to show you it is not a simple subject. Now, there are a lot of issues with the dogs which we need to focus on. Now, what are those issues? It comes with the breed. So which breed to use? Which breed is good for purpose? What type? Then comes the training type, reward type, whether it is like play, praise, or conventionally we have been, giving the food rewards or aversive mode of training. So these are like reward type, which matters at the end of the day. Training aids use, whether they are real aid or the pseudo or artificial training aids. So all that has an impact. How search was carried out, on leash, off leash. So different ways of deployment, alert methods. Now, how active, scratch, bark, or it was a passive sit, stare. Because if you are looking for explosive, you can't allow your dog to scratch or disturb the scene. The gender of the dog, male, female, there are issues. The reward delivery, whether it is direct or indirect delivery, whether it is primary or secondary, whether it is a variable reward system or continuous reward system. Training length, how much time in a week or in a month. So there are refresher training schedules, the periodic proficiency assessments, evaluations. So there are a whole lot of issues which we need to focus. So the task looks simple, has a very unique challenges. So all that have individually need, perhaps long debates and deliberations, which we will avoid and fix it for some other time. Okay. Now, key issues with detection dogs, what is our observation and what we have seen in recent time. One is the old school coercive dog training, which is like most of the organization have to migrate from the orthodox system to the new and contemporary system. That's the message. Second is need to transform to deliver credible team performance. Here, ladies and gentlemen, what matters is the dog and the handler. Together they make a team. Dog alone is of no interest to us. A handler alone is of no interest to us. But when they combine them as a team, they complement each other. Eventually, it is the outcome which matters. And outcome has role of dog as well as the handler. So they have to complement. That's where the team's performance comes. So we call it dog team or canine team. Individually, it doesn't matter. So most of the organization we need to change because status quo will not lead us to anywhere. Dog teams are most efficient, cost-effective means of searching, as I told you, as a scanning machine. To scan that entire environment, dogs are amazing. So there is one application is scanning, and second is like where you are targeted detection. The innumerable success stories. I'm not giving you those case studies. We all read every now and then that dog have led us to the explosive search. The other day in Valley, where we lost a couple of army soldiers in one of the encounter, the dog quickly led us to where these guys are hiding. We eliminated them. We gave them a strong message. You might do something to us to damage us, but don't think that you're going to be saved. We are going to nab you where you're hiding, whether these are deep caves or whether they are deep jungles. Our dogs are going to leading us in that task, and we are going to lead and catch you there right over in your hiding place. And that's what we do. So within no time, the dog led us to their hiding place, hideout, and we eliminated the 4 terrorists. It happened near Rajouri. Some of you have read. So these are the strengths which dogs provide to our teams, and that dog was on the spot commanded by the army commander of the Northern Command. The dog was felicitated and given an army commander commendation. I'm sure in due course of time, dog is going to get even higher awards. But army commander has the power to give his own award, which he immediately gives. As I earlier told you, it's an inherently low impact technique involving minimal disruptions. So it's easy to implement, innocuous, can be implemented discreetly and repeatedly for different environments. So all those are some of those advantages which brings by this. Now, confirmation of canine's abilities are important. Now, this is what we were talking when we started our discussion. Where the reliability of the dog team is important. Now, how will that be bridged? I've just given you 3 major points. One is the past history and successful search records. That means when we have to generate those evidences to inspire confidence, the dog has been successfully, constantly, whenever we have deployed, dog has led us to success, and it's without any error. The second is training records. Because you're training on daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, and you have to generate those records to inspire confidence that the dog is leading us to success correctly. And that record is going to be helpful that, okay, on daily, weekly, monthly basis, the dog, when you put him to challenging scenarios, building search, vehicle search, baggage search, the dog is going to constantly lead us to the success without any error. And the third is Canine is one of the search tool out of many other options. So when the Canine result is there, he's corroborating with other evidences and other things. So this is something very, very important from the forensic point of view. Periodic testing of dogs and their handlers is significant. That's where the proficiency assessment we are talking of the dog team, and it has to be independent proficiency assessment. One is that you are evaluating yourself or your friend is evaluating for you within the organization, but we will definitely have some bias. There is no randomness in that. So we want a third party or an independent assessment, which is blind assessment, where the handler and the dog doesn't know, the instructors doesn't know, the agency doesn't know, but the assessor knows. So the assessor will have information that whether the dog has been successfully indicating or not. So training failures are the improvement opportunities for the real world. And okay, mind you, you may avoid all these things, but when it comes to the court of law, your background, your behavior, your conduct, your professional competence, your ethical considerations, all that is going to be scrutinized. The questions are going to be from the defense side in the court of law, or which you would not like. So if you don't want those uncomfortable questions, and if you don't want that dog to fail in the court of law while successful on ground, you need to subject yourself to all these scrutinies and standards, evaluation, assessments, and all that evidences you need to generate, so that when you go to the court of law as a dog team, you can really upfront answer all the questions and observations of the judge and satisfy him by your responses and by your records that the dog team which you have deployed is immensely credible, and what performance and the outcome which dog has brought in is credible. So that is what is the main target at which we are focusing. Significant efforts have made through the MHA's Police Canine Cell. In fact, I am the founder and former head of the Police Canine Cell. So after taking premature retirement from the army in the year 2019, we had established this Police Canine Cell, and I was given this big responsibility to what I'm all talking about. They said, okay, walk the talk now. So you have been saying all these things, lead us to this phase. So 3 years I have been the head of the Police Canine Cell, where we did a lot of things. I'll just briefly touch upon them, not take time because of the limitation. However, still the state police, the central police, law enforcement, they need support because this subject is a highly technical subject. It's not a normal subject. It's highly specialized subject. So you need, a lot of discussions, debates, and policy making and advices on this. Meaningful advances will not come without significant concomitant initiative from academia in forensic science. That's what brings us to your courtyard. That without your help, without your support, without the involvement of the forensic experts, we are not going to have a sustainable change, a sustainable transformation in this subject. And that is very much important, and we need to really focus on that. I'll just take a call. I think there's some important message. I'll just
I would kindly request the audience to please mention your questions in the chat box till sir continues. I will be taking up the questions from the chat box, and sir will answer them in a while.
Okay, thanks. So I was talking about the relevance of forensic science, fraternity, and the subject to our work, which is significant. So far, it has not been. And here I would take the opportunity to express my gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, Dr. J.M. Vyas, who is a visionary, we all know, who is, say, promoted this subject of forensic science in a big way. And he's the one who has given us this opportunity to launch the courses on canine forensics and given us this unique advantage that we can debate on this subject, educate, learn on this subject, exchange ideas on this subject, and inspire the forensic experts to, really indulge into this kind of thing. So I'm so grateful to Professor Dr. J.M. Vyas, Padma Shri, because of his vision that we are able to, introduce this subject in the National Forensic Science University, and we are today debating and discussing about it. So our heartfelt gratitude to a visionary, Dr. Vyas. I would come next. That no central or state body has attended. Right?
Sir, sorry to interrupt you, but we have 5 minutes for this session, as David sir is waiting.
Yeah. So
thank you.
Okay. So anyway, I would try to conclude it early, and David would appreciate, because he's again a national passionate person for whom, I've seen that time is never. So when I invited David to please participate in this, I knew that there would be middle of the night, David is going to present. But knowing him well from almost 10 years or 12 years, he's such an extreme, passionate person that I was more than sure that he would come forward and spare his nights for us, so that our day is like lighted and we can learn from him. So we try to, conclude this now. So NFSU is spearheading in the forensic course with Pan-India mandate. NFSU is now reclaiming the canine field with a vision to transform canine practices, making their testimony credible and admissible in the court of law. That's what is the entire message which we have been talking about. And how we are doing it, these are the stakeholders, are the police organizations, which we have already discussed. Now, I'll just run through the MHA's effort where we did. So our focus was mainstreaming and augmentation of canines capabilities in India. Okay. And there were certain SOPs which we made. You can see on the slide. So there are a large number of SOPs we made. These are all progressive, modern, contemporary proficiency evaluations to the transportation, to retirement, to working canine behavior assessment test, how to select the dog, how to train the dog, how to evaluate the dog, how to ensure their health, periodic health evaluations, all those things. Within a short time, we have tried to do that, but a lot needs to be done. Additionally, we carried out, like I personally conducted more than 10 workshops with different organizations to demonstrate them the contemporary techniques, the modern concepts of training, to bring a sustainable change in the ecosystem. We started, annual National Police Canine seminars. So I started the first one in the year 2017 with NSG. But when I came to the MHA, that is the time we started, and we made it formally annual event. So now every year we are organizing these National Police Canine seminars by different central paramilitary forces. So this is a unique initiative to really bring a sustainable change. So these are the seminars which we are conducting. And then I always struggle that what I have done or the others have done, there was no forum where you can, reduce into writing. So a journal has been launched when we were there. So we started a 6-monthly, 100-page National Police Canine Journal. So this National Police Canine Journal is now giving advantages to the professionals, so that whatever they have tried new or innovatively designed something, or there are challenges, difficulties, case studies. So all that is getting reduced into this journal, and we are learning from each other. The Honorable Grahamantri, he inaugurated the inaugural issue. That brings down to the subject of canine forensics. And ladies and gentlemen, in August this year, we started the pioneering course of diploma. You can see the students, the batch of inaugural batch of the canine forensics. So this is nicely innovatively designed, that the 4 months like this course is of the duration of 6 months. You would be really happy to note that a diploma is conferred to you in a duration of 6 months because of its uniqueness of the design. Otherwise, it takes a whole lot of time. So to bridge that gap and to support the professionals on this, we have designed in a way that 6 months course is divided into two parts. First 4 months, we are having a hybrid mode. Online teaching is there, assignments are there, projects are there, and then remaining 2 months is hands-on training. So the current batch, which we started in August, now is undergoing into the hands-on training. So the photographs which you are seeing on your screen are from the current batch, and I'm very fortunate that all these participants are attending this conference, and they have also presented during the advancement of forensic science and impediment national conference, and some of these speakers, the experts, are also speaking in today's conference. So this is where we are learning on ground about the detection dog, about protection dog, about behavior of the dog, about training aids. What we are talking in my presentation, all those issues are being touched upon and imparted education training. Not only that, during this course, we are taking the students to different centers of excellence in this field. Like we have, yesterday we have visited the NSG's Canine unit. We have taken them to the National Bomb Data Center of NSG, where the bomb incidences are like compiled and all information is available. The other day, prior to that, we have taken them to Air Force Dog Training School, where they saw how in an organized manner the dogs are prepared, kept, managed, and the technology which they are using for the protection of Air Force assets is being used. Then we took them to the Delhi Police Dog Squad so that they can see how the dogs are used in the policing task. And we are scheduled to visit the CAPF's dog training center also. So there's a wide exposure which we are trying to give to these students so that they can understand the dimensions of this subject apart from learning the theoretical part and having the hands-on training experience. So all these the students, they are handed over one puppy each, and they are now trying to experiment on that puppy, learn on that puppy. We are giving them certain targets, and we are going to imprint these dogs for detection tasks, for protection tasks. So we are trying to help them in actually learning this subject. So this is a unique course which we have started, and the strategic approach we have, like we have collaborated with the National Forensic Science University, the Delhi campus, and I'm heading the Police Dog Center India, which is established here in New Delhi. So that's a collaboration between two, and we have also collaborated with the Florida International University, which I was talking about, Forensic and Justice Center. So this is the three agencies which have collaborated to really exploit full potential of this subject. And our focus is on education, training, and research. So that's where we are trying. So we are going to launch Masters in Canine Forensics and PhD. PhD is short from next session, and we are trying to look that if enough students are there in the Masters, then we perhaps think on the launching from the next session. And we intend that out of that Masters and PhD, the student can spend one entire semester in the Florida International University Global Forensics and Justice Center, so that they can have a wider exposure from the US point of view and learn while doing there. We're going to give them a project and other hand holdings. And this is where, we are trying to bridge the gaps and learn the contemporary education from the international point of view, from the international standards point of view. And augment performance of police dog teams as credible scientific forensic tool of detection and crime investigation. That's our vision, and we want to do whatever possible to achieve that. So these are some of those. I'll just quickly run over these slides. This is our mission. We will be trying to achieve these standards with the help of our strategic collaborations. And we have to improve the consistency, reliability, performance outcome, and the legal acceptance. I have earlier also covered these three parts. That's the focus area for us. Technical part, performance outcome, and taking it to the final conclusion, the legal acceptance. Without that, our subject is not going to be really achieving its full potential. So we have like entire focus on that, formulate and share best practices, diverse security organizations, transform their systems, award them formal degrees with the help of NFSU to establish canine forensic as a subject for you to make your career in this and advancement in terms of your education. Like I, with 30 years of experience, have done a basic course, and then there was no formal education, formal course. So what we have done, we have gone on our own payments abroad, participated in this seminar, this workshop, that workshop, connected the dots, learned by experimenting with great difficulties and challenges. I don't want the young generation to do that. We want everything is available under the roof of one university where experts are available. Like we have requested Dr. David, who's come to teach you and share his experience. Similarly, the experts will come to you, and we want to give you authentic learning experience so that you all know that what are the dimensions of this subject, and you don't struggle to pay from your pocket exorbitantly, waste your time in commuting, going all the way to different countries, and yet nobody teaches you the entire thing. It's like that they always try to give you a trailer, not the full picture. We are interested in picture, and NFSU and the Police Dog Center India, we promise you to give you a full picture, not only once, but we are focused on to the sequel. The canine forensic is a bridging course. So if you are from a graduate from arts, commerce, or any subject, and if you undergo this diploma canine forensic, this is a bridging course, and you come to this field because you want to make a career in this. Do this diploma called canine forensics, make your basics foundation, and pursue your masters and the PhDs in this field. So this is going to open a unique opportunity for you, all of you, so that you can make your career in this. And there are a lot of opportunities and options which are coming in the national and international markets, industry, where you all can use this. I'll run over these slides. The knowledge gap, we are trying to bridge this, and the best practices, the service gaps, I told you, education, and the recognition, that a formal recognition, an authentic knowledge and learning experience. And we want to bridge all the aspects of the dogs, so different types of dogs, training and performance records, periodic proficiency evaluation. All this is part of the NFSU's initiative, whether it's preparing a dog, whether it is evaluating a dog, whether it is like training the handlers, or training on specific aspect, carrying out the workshop parts. We'll come on to that also. So everything is part, and research and development. I'll avoid this. These are the research ideas which I wanted to share with the students, but we can keep it on for some other day. The research gaps, scent identification lineup is a big lacking thing in our country. We need a lot of work on this. Impact of changing handlers. Like currently in India, one dog is handled by multiple handlers, and that brings down our performance. As I told you in the beginning, it's like one dog, one handler, and that's a dog team. And if you break this team, a new team comes in existence. If I remove the old handler and bring in a new handler, it's the new team which has come in existence, and the new team will have a different performance outcome than the old team. So the new team needs, again, certification evaluation. Currently, we are practicing like anybody can handle this dog, but this is not a equipment. This dog needs a permanent handler to understand him, understand his behavior, command him with a uniform word of command. So the certification and the evaluation is for a team. You cannot break that team. That's where we want to understand more. Human remains, historical human remains detection. Some of the forensic students must be knowing that with the archaeological survey of international bodies, they have been able to find the skeleton, the fossils, 3,000 years old with the help of dog. So dog has immense capability in rediscovering the civilization, the origin of our civilizations to that extent. medical detection dog, therapy dogs, automatic detection tools. A lot to be done when it comes to augmenting the capabilities of the dogs. So we have the activities planned. One is the open elective course for the students of graduate, masters, and PhD courses, where they can opt for canine forensic as an open elective. Then there are different courses we have launched. Diploma Canine Forensic is the pioneering course which is already launched. We are going to launch the PhD from the next session. From April, the PhD admissions, PhD sessions will start. There'll be the advertisement would be out sometime in January or February. So some of you who are interested and meet the prerequisites can apply. Masters, we are also contemplating, in case there is enough excitement in the forensic fraternity, we would launch the Masters in Canine Forensics. Diploma is the bridging course for your masters. That means if you are graduate in different disciplines and not from the dog world, but you have some experience and interest, then you do this diploma and straight away pursue your higher studies, and then you will be placed in different industry places, and also the subject of forensics. And we need more and more teaching faculty also on this. Training and capacity development, short duration courses for police, law enforcement, different 5 days, 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, 12 weeks. Preparation of dogs, different type of dogs, research and development, and standardization, proficiency assessment, and certification. We are tying up with the Florida International University. They are launching an international commission on detection dogs. So we have like the dog certified as per the international norms. David is also launching a big initiative, Scent Source. So we'd love to collaborate with him also. That's end from my side, and I'm open for the questions. And David is already waiting to further, take you to a different level. So, any questions, Astha, Bilik? I mean, if someone can coordinate, please.
Yes, sir. I'll coordinate the questions. So there is one question, and it says, it was my unit tracker dot team which was instrumental in the operation, sharing as coincidentally attending the conference by default. So, sir, I guess you shared about the tracker dog team details.
Yes.
So, Sanjeev sir is there, who is sharing about the narrated event, that it was his team at the Rajouri operation.
Yes, yes. Colonel Sanjeev Chauhan is participating, and we are so fortunate that the incidents which I narrated is his dog. So big kudos and big applause for you and your team and that dog team, which did wonders and really gave a message to the terrorists. Colonel Sanjeev is senior to me, so I really express my gratitude. Thanks, Sanjeev sir. And thanks for pitching in and telling the first hand that this was your team and your effort. Great, great. Thank you.
So your voice is cracking. Can you repeat?
Milik, can you unmute Sanjeev sir? He can share a few words with us.
Yes, sure.
Good morning to all. Presentation by Colonel Chug was really a new sphere for me, a new subject, and very well communicated. And his thoughts, his concept, and his efforts in this area is worth appreciating. And I wish him all the best. And he is doing tremendous job after quitting our organization. Wishing all the best and all the success to him.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. We're grateful to have you here.
Thanks a lot.
Sir, there is one question from Karam Rajrai, sir. He asks how canine can be helpful in tracking evidence in water-related crimes.
So say again, just there was some cracking of the voice. I couldn't pick up in between. It just repeat that
Sir,
again.
he is asking how canine can be helpful in tracking evidence in water-related crimes. So where water is involved, like in drowning cases or
Okay, okay. So, so this is an interesting aspect which you have asked, and dogs does have like the application. One is like we are already training dogs for saving the drowning patient, like search and rescue dogs which were earlier deployed in the rubble. Now we are training dogs from the detection or the saving the victims from the drowning things. So here, when in an interesting manner, the dog can take a wheel closer to the victim and help him in actually saving. That is one. Second, that the order of the drowned patient or victim, the dog can pick up, and dog can really help us, because when the patient goes deep into the water surface, under the water surface, the order starts coming out. So dog is like detecting that order and indicating you on that particular spot. That is again useful when it comes to the detecting the evidences or the cadaver or the mortal remains which are buried or which are under the water. So from that point of view, it's very helpful. Third thing where water bodies come in way is the tracking trailing dog, the man trailing dog. So in man trailing dog, when our dogs are like following in the jungle terrain, then they are water bodies. So what sometimes the 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 accused or the terrorists, they move in the water, like move in the water and then get out of the water body out of on the other side. So this presents a unique challenge, and our observation is that the dogs are able to find out the order if it is floating. If the water is stagnant, then it is easy for dog to pick up those orders, because orders are there on the surface. But in case the water is moving and like a river, then that order also is moving, and then that presents a unique challenge. So there are different situations where dog has to be really deployed in a very thoughtful manner, and where it can lead us to success, or where we need to play our role to redeploy the dog. Like I remember in one of the operations in the valley where the terrorists had crossed this river Jhelum. So once they have crossed the river Jhelum, and they had gone within the Jhelum river for a while and then crossed over. So when we got into the Jhelum up to a point, and then we crossed over to the other bank of the Jhelum, we were not getting the order. So we could see through that these guys must have moved within the Jhelum. So we tried to deploy the dog on the other side on near proximity, and we could eventually pick up the track again. So you have to really see the ground situation, complement the efforts of the dog, because dog, he gets into an order, then definitely he's going to follow the track. So there are different situations where in the water scenario we can use the dog.
uh, thank you, sir, for the amazing clearance on the doubt. There is another question. Uh, it is imperative for the success of the dog team that we have genetically good OGs having very good drives. But the import ban put on dogs stops from getting good lineage dogs into India. And inbreeding current dogs in India is giving rise to genetic disorders. So this is a question related to the genetic disorders which is coming in India. So sir is asking what is being done to address this issue.
Yes, it's a very valid point, and we have been struggling with this issue. And with regard to the police organizations, we have already helped out the police. This ban is not there for the police or security organization, by the way. So this ban is for the civil society. So when it comes to, we are recently importing dogs for the police organizations, central paramilitary organizations. We have authorized them the breeding stock, and they are importing that so that they can produce high quality dogs, puppies. All that is happening. But yes, I understand and appreciate your concern, because eventually the civil society and the breeders need to meet the requirement of the police organization. So there's a lot of work going on that. Pressure groups are being made, and we're trying to convince the government on that. And everyone will have to get united that there are advantages in lifting the ban, and it opens up opportunities. And as you rightly said, we can avoid kind of inbreeding even in civil society, and we can have like broader gene pool to maintain the purity of the breeds and the quality of the dogs. A coordinated effort needs to be done, and definitely we would like to play a big role in that.
Thank you so much, sir. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, I guess there are no more questions. So I will take a moment to thank you for the session, sir. So, sir, your presentation on advancements in canine forensics, a global perspective, has been an illuminating journey into the forefront of forensic science. Your comprehensive insights into the evolving landscape of canine forensics have not only expanded our knowledge but also inspired a deeper appreciation for the complexities of the field. We are grateful for your dedication to advancing the discourse on global forensic practices, and your expertise has undoubtedly left a lasting impact on our conference participants. In expressing our sincere thanks, we recognize and appreciate the wealth of experience and knowledge that you bring to the table. Your contribution has significantly contributed to the success of our conference, fostering a spirit of curiosity and excellence among our attendees. We look forward to future collaborations and continued insights from a visionary in the field of canine forensics like you, sir. I would also like to take a moment to thank our another guest, Colonel Sanjeev Chauhan, sir, for coming up and talking about the experience. Sir, we are grateful to have you here, and we are proud of our Indian Army fighting terrorism at all levels and protecting us on borders so that we sleep safe. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, there is another question from Manoj, sir. He asked, regarding the differences in Indian breeds and foreign breeds, how is the efficiency differing? What is the difference between the efficiency of the two breeds?
Oh, it's a very old questions which I have been answering, and in fact, we have done a lot of work on this. So let me tell you that Indian breeds we have tried, and certain trials are already completed, like Mudhol Hound has been tried by the Indian Army also, as well as the paramilitary forces also. So in the inaugural issue of the National Police Canine Journal, we have published the trial report of the Mudhol Hound. So some of you who are interested, you can go onto the MHA's website, just write National Police Canine Journal. You will find, the MHA's website will take you to that police canine cell, where my work and our policies are, everything is there. And you can go through that journal and the trial report. Unfortunately, every breed, or fortunately, every breed has a unique advantages. The Indian breeds which we are talking more often is like Mudhol Hound or Chippy Parai, Rajapalyam. Now, these are sight hounds. There are two types of hounds which are available. One is sight hound, other is scent hounds. So sight hound is deploying or playing by using his vision, eyes. So from the eyes point of view, dogs are not far too much superior to us. That's where the restriction comes. And scent hounds are the hounds which use their nose. They don't rely on their eyes, vision. They use their nose. So in a hidden environment where the vision is not possible, the dog which have the strong nose are going to be successful. And the dogs which do not have a strong nose and relying on eyes are bound to fail. And that's where we are facing difficulty with regard to the most Indian breeds, because these are sight hounds and they are not having that much strong nose. So eventually the trials which we were conducted, they are sight hounds, like since the dog is like looking and trying to chase, or the prey drives getting excited about that. So there the distraction is too much, because even a fly, a bird, the dog is inherently a chaser by looking at the target. So therefore, the Indian breeds like are not able to lead us because of the lack of focus and lack of the desired olfactory capabilities. And mind you, when it comes to Indian breed or foreign breed, it's not that we are importing all those breeds, like a Labrador, which the forces are using from last 20 generation, 30 generation, or God knows how many generations this is being bred in India. So from the origin point of view, a Labrador or a German Shepherd may look like a foreign breed, but eventually it is no more a foreign breed. It is naturalized here in India. It is owned. The generations are owned here in India. We are not importing them. So we're not promoting a foreign breed. It is our own dog. What meets the purpose should be the, because look at the stake. What are the stakes? Stakes are too high. If a bomb is there, then would you take risk of missing that bomb, or would you like to go for the best solution? So therefore, we should not be getting too emotional in this. But notwithstanding, we don't want to leave a single Indian breed unchecked, untested. So there have been a trial ordered. We've carried out few, which as I told you. And then there's a trial on Himalayan Shepherd, which is ordered from the MHA, where Central Paramilitary Forces are trying them. So Himalayan Shepherd is a combination of 4 different localized breed, like Himachali Shepherd, Tibetan Mastiff, Gaddi, Bakarwal, Bhutia. So these are the dogs which comprise of the Himalayan Shepherd group. So they are now being tested, and with our experience, now we are testing them in their natural environment. We don't want to bring them from mountains to the plains, hot plains, and then try, because then they are changing their natural habitat. So we are trying them. So we are on the correct path of checking. We have identified 8 major Indian breeds on which the trials are ordered and work is going on. And with the observations and the trials, we would be able to eventually conclude that whether they are useful or they have some issues. But Mudhol Hound was definitely done a trial, and the trial report is already there in the journal.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for clarifying all the doubts. And so there is this last question from Mark, sir. For private detection agencies, what kind of protection in terms of arms does government provide for threats by drug dealers?
So what I understand, though the question is not very clear, if he's asking about the firearms for protection of the individuals who are indulging into detection, or he's like talking of the scope of dogs as a detector in the private security industry. So if you can clarify that, because the firearms are not allowed in our country to be used for the private security. Whatever you see certain weapons on the gate of a bank, or from the cash vans, these are all personal weapons of that ex-army person who is having the personal protection weapon, so which is being deployed. So yes, protection dogs can play a big role. Protection dogs can play a big role. That's where the dual purpose dogs we are talking of. A Belgian Shepherd Malinois or a German Shepherd can be trained for narcotics or drug detection, and at the same time inflicting assault or personal protection. So here they can contribute a big role, that in case there is a threat to the individual who is using his dog for detection of drugs, and if there is a threat to him, then this dog can come handy in protecting him and his team. So that's where the dual purpose dog can really be very useful, because let me tell you, a dog is more than a weapon. A weapon perhaps you will not be able to use when in the event of requirement, because obviously it can take life. It's a lethal weapon. But a dog is a non-lethal weapon. In case there is a threat to you, you can use it, and dog will still not kill the individual, but maim him or damage him or bite him or tear him apart to an extent that is of no threat to you. So from that point of view, you can use it very often. By the way, dog is a big deterrence. If you have a dog on your side, I mean, nobody can dare come closer to you. The sight of dog is so fiercely, deterrent to anybody that it gives you a lot of protection. So from all that point of view, dog has a unique advantage, and I think we must make use of these dogs to the extent possible. Asta, your voice is breaking.
Astha, your voice is breaking.
Now I would like to invite Niyati to invite next speaker.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for the unique opportunity and sharing my thoughts on the subject of canine forensics. I'm sure.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable insights. Thank you
Thank you.
so very